precision attacks, let's say that. It still took a large number of aircraft to hit quite a small target. Whereas again, when we look at the F-35, as we will in just a few minutes' time, it doesn't take much ordnance at all because of the modern techniques and the laser-guided bombs. Squadron was the first frontline unit on the F-35B in the UK. And this is a true swing-run machine. It's capable of conducting air-to-air, air-to-ground missions, electronic warfare and intelligence gathering simultaneously. It doesn't have to land and have to rearm different weapons, different fits. It can do all these missions all at the same time in a single sortie. All of the UK's F-35 squadrons are joint RAF and Royal Navy. The commanding officer and the senior pilot alternate between the services, and the latest operational squadron on the type is a Navy Squadron 809 Naval Air Squadron, which reformed last December. Enough, can it? This is an operational platform. The first carrier strike group with the new carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth took place, or deployment by that group took place in 2021, and its first use on operations against Daesh over Iraq and Syria. And since then, the F-35Bs have been flown on long-range missions as part of our response to the Ukraine conflict, integrating with Typhoons and other NATO assets. And our fleet of these aircraft is now up to 34 after the latest deliveries this March, and full operational capability for Lightning Force is due in 2025, and that'll be when the 48th aircraft is delivered. And HMS Prince of Wales will of course be joining Queen Elizabeth as the second carrier. But look at this, for a high alpha, high angle of attack, nose high pass. And it's nice to hear that this aircraft has now assumed the place of so many great combat aircraft of previous generations in setting off a sea of car alarms at an air display. This is seen very much as more than just a combat aircraft. The sensors and communications suite on the F-35B are able to interact with other similarly networked platforms across all domains, to use the language that we use now. And in future, it's intended that F-35s will be able to operate as part of a team with uncrewed platforms, UAVs basically, of one type or another. And this goes not just for us, but for other air arms that use these very capable jets in their 3 different versions, because this is the STOVL, the short takeoff vertical landing version, the F-35B. There's also the conventional F-35A model, which is also operated from the UK by the US Air Force's 48th Fighter Wing at Lockheed, and there's the carrier variant, the F-35C, which made its first deployment aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln with the US Marine Corps in early 2022.
Here you can see the aircraft in its landing configuration. The gear is down. If we had a longer runway here, this would be rolling vertical landing. If you like, you'll see that pointing down towards the ground. It actually swivels, and then on the back of the aircraft the big door opens, which brings a big fan into play, and altogether these create pillars of thrust on which the aircraft is able to fly very slowly and to stop and hover. And if you think back to the days of enjoying Harrier displays, even in the hover, the Harrier would be a living, breathing thing, jiggling a little bit left and right. Just watch the F-35, it's a completely different sight, a completely different story.
And in each wing, there's a roll post nozzle to give roll control and to maintain lateral stability, and that uses bypass air from the Pratt & Whitney F135 turbofan engine, and it all helps this aircraft to operate in this stop mode, even with very, very strong winds. So, the final pass of our final display of the day at the RAF Cosford Air Show 2024 coming up. In from left to right, the Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning.